Our nation's economy, like most modern world economies, has developed from one built on the extraction of raw materials for consumption and sale to one that is now more dependent on revenue from services. This economic shift is important to understand from a sociological standpoint because it impacts the proportion of the population engaged in various activities that support the economy. In this lesson, we will explore economic change by discussing the three types of sectors of an economy: primary, secondary, and tertiary. These sectors can be viewed as a continuum, starting with the primary sector, which is the part of the economy generated by extracting raw materials directly from the earth for consumption or sale, moving next into the secondary sector, which is the part of the economy that transforms the raw materials into goods for sale or consumption, and finally, the tertiary sector, which is the part of the economy that involves the sale or trade of services instead of goods. The primary sector involves the extraction of raw materials from the earth. This extraction results in raw materials and basic foods, such as coal, wood, iron, and corn. The types of workers in this sector include farmers, coal miners, and hunters. In the U.S., and similarly in most other modern world countries, there is a decline in the proportion of the population that works in the primary sector. Currently, only 3% of our nation's labor force is engaged in primary sector activity. This is a big change from the mid-19th century, in which 2/3 of the labor force was engaged in this sector. The secondary sector involves the transformation of raw materials into goods. This transformation results in wood being made into furniture, steel being made into cars, or textiles being made into clothes, as examples. The types of workers in this sector include a seamstress, factory worker, or craftsman. The development into this sector can be attributed to demand for more goods and food, which leads to industrialization. Only so much can be done in the primary sector before there is a natural limit on how much can be extracted. When an economy moves into the second sector, new farm techniques are used and industrialization changed how goods can be transformed, distributed, and sold. Currently, 20% of the U.S. labor force is involved in the secondary sector. The tertiary sector involves the supplying of services to consumers and businesses. This sector provides services to the general population and business, including retail, sales, transportation, and restaurants. The types of workers in this sector include restaurant bartenders, accountants, and pilots. The service industry makes up 80% of the labor force today. Some economists argue that there are two additional sectors that make up the modern world economy. These sectors are the quaternary and the quinary sectors. The quaternary sector is said to be the part of the economy that consists of intellectual activities, such as scientific research, education, and information technology. Workers in this sector include scholars, researchers, and librarians. The quinary sector is argued to be made up of the highest level decision-making in that society or economy. Examples of workers in this sector would include top CEOs of companies, presidents of universities, and media executives. As our modern economy grows and develops, it is said that these sectors will drive the economy more so than primary and secondary sectors. Developing countries, however, still heavily rely on the first two sectors for economic support and development. The economy of a modern world can be discussed in terms of three sectors: primary, secondary, and tertiary. The primary sector is the part of the economy generated by extracting raw materials directly from the earth for consumption or sale. The secondary sector is the part of the economy that transforms the raw materials into goods for sale or consumption. The tertiary sector is the part of the economy that involves the sale or trade of services instead of goods. Some economists argue that there are two additional sectors that make up the modern world economy. These sectors are the quaternary and quinary sectors that involve intellectual activities and high-level decision-making as part of the economy.